Woo, what a week we have right here for week 3 of the NFL season. I'm Timothy Claiborne, your host of Pick 6. I'm going to talk about the great games we have for week 3. And one of the biggest games of the year and early in the season is a rematch of last year's Super Bowl between the Seattle Seahawks and the Denver Broncos in Seattle this Sunday at 3:30 p.m. The most important matchup in this game will be Peyton Manning going up against the Legion of Boom, Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, and those guys. Last time in the Super Bowl, even though Manning did throw for over 300 yards against them, he struggled. They only put up 8 points. He threw 2 picks. He looked like uncomfortable in the pocket. I don't think he's going to have the same disastrous game, but I don't think he's going to have better success because they're playing in Seattle. I mean, you got Richard Sherman. I don't know if he's going to target him. I don't know if he's going to throw to his side. Byron Maxwell has been getting a lot of targets early in this season. You know you got Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor, and you know you have that pass rush. So we'll see what Peyton Manning can do against his defense. The second thing I want to talk about is the 12th man, the loudest crowd in football. They will definitely be a very big factor in this game in Peyton Manning's play calls. You know he likes to make adjustments at the line of scrimmage. You know they like to play up pace. You know they like to change a lot of plays, move a lot of people around, make sure they get the right matchups. I don't think he's going to be able to do it, and if he tries to, it may get false starts or they may get delay of games or confusion, and that could cause turnovers and things of that nature. And you don't want that in Seattle because it's already loud as it is. And my last factor for this game will be Percy Harvin against the Broncos secondary, and particularly against the cornerback Aqib Talib. He was signed by the Broncos from the Patriots this offseason to be their number one corner and shut down the other team's number one receiver. He did that against Jimmy Graham last year, as Jimmy Graham had a great hot streak of 100-yard receiving from the tight end position, and he just was dominating. He ran into Aqib Talib and had no catches in that game against the Patriots. He's going up against the speedy, explosive, playmaking wide receiver Percy Harvin. I don't think he will shut down Percy Harvin, but I think he will hold him and he will keep him in check. I say he keeps him under 100 yards, but he doesn't keep him from catching the key touchdown passes that lead the Seahawks to a victory. I think they will win 28-24 in a close victory, closer than they had in the Super Bowl. And I say Russell Wilson throws a touchdown pass to Percy Harvin late in the fourth quarter as he leads his team to a 2-1 record and a victory over the Denver Broncos. The Washington Redskins and the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think there could be a more interesting, more dynamic game in week 3 of the NFL season. You have Deshaun Jackson returning to Philadelphia. You have no RG3 and his injury. You have Nick Foles and Darren Sproles on that great Eagles offense against a very surprisingly great defense from the Washington Redskins. It has all the factors, all the elements, and all the stars to be a Game of the Year nominee. No RG3 for the Redskins for maybe the rest of the year. We know he's out week 3 against Philly. He dislocated his ankle early in the first quarter against the Jacksonville Jaguars in last week's game. Kirk Cousins came in, played very well in a blowout out of the Jaguars, and I think he's going to play good against this Philadelphia Eagles defense. The Philadelphia Eagles, really, I mean, they've been behind against the Jaguars in week 1 against the Colts on Monday night just a few nights ago. They came back, and the reason why is because of Darren Sproles. Darren Sproles was a mismatch against everybody he's played against really in the NFL. He's so short. He's a great receiver out in the backfield, can run. He still has the speed even at the age of 31. And Darren Sproles has been a very good pickup for the Philadelphia Eagles from the New Orleans Saints in this offseason. You still got LaShawn McCoy. You still got Jeremy Maclin. That's a lot for the Washington Redskins to stop, and I don't think they're going to be able to stop it. Another big factor in this game is the return of Deshaun Jackson, the speedy receiver, to Philadelphia. He may be questionable for this game, as he has an ankle injury, as he injured his ankle last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I think if he plays, will have a big game because Kirk Cousins is a very good pocket quarterback. You have Pierre Garçon and you have Andre Robinson down the field. That's 3 legitimate wide receivers there. I don't think Philly can stop those guys, especially if Deshaun Jackson can just blow the tank off the top of the defense and just, force double coverages that give you underneath passes to Pierre Garçon. Of course, Andre Robinson, he's a deep threat, and you still got the running game with Alfred Morris. It's going to be a high-scoring game in my opinion. I say one of the highest scoring games of the year. I say it gets up into the 40s, but I still think Philly wins because they're at home. Now, my main point, and my final probably finishing products of this game is going to be whichever defenses play better, their team will win because there are just so many weapons on each offense. And I think the Philly defense will play better because they're going against a young not Nick Foles, but they're going against a young Kirk Cousins. Nick Foles will play very well, probably throw for over 300 yards. He won't throw an interception, 4 touchdowns. LaShawn McCoy, of course, has his 100 yards rushing. I mean, Shady, he's just the modern-day Barry Sanders, shaking and baking all over the place against this Washington defense. I say Kirk Cousins has a very good game. He just has too many turnovers, even with the help of Alfred Morris running for over 100 yards. And I say that Philly wins this high-scoring game, 45-38, in one of the best games of the year. Matthew Stafford and Aaron Rodgers go head-to-head from the Motor City and Ford Field this Sunday in a great classic NFC North rivalry. You have the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. I mean, two explosive offenses. You have Megatron, you have Reggie Bush, you have Golden Tate, of course, Matthew Stafford, Brandon Pettigrew on one side for the Lions. You have the best quarterback in the league in Aaron Rodgers. You have Jordy Nelson. You have Eddie Lacy. You have all those put together on one field. It should be a very good game, and I can't wait to watch it. Now, my first factor in this game will be, of course, the two quarterbacks, whichever quarterback plays better. Now, of course, Matthew Stafford kind of has the advantage because he has Calvin Johnson. I mean, a freakish athlete at wide receiver, 6'5", 235, runs very fast, long stride, a good route runner. I mean, the leaping ability of some of the best. I mean, he's like almost like a basketball player, just out-rebounding everybody basically for the ball, kind of. Then you got Aaron Rodgers. I mean, just the most accurate, most complete quarterback in the game right now. Yes, better than Peyton Manning, better than Drew Brees, better than Tom Brady. Yes, he has a Super Bowl ring. He is a former MVP. I mean, he has Jordy Nelson. You saw what he did against the Jets last week. He has an arm. He can do it all. And I think he will have a very good, successful time against this not Green Bay defense, but this Detroit Lions defense in that questionable secondary. The Packers and their fans' biggest concern for this weekend's game will be, can they stop Calvin Johnson? I mean, it's really hard for anybody to try to stop this man. He's just the best wide receiver in the league. He's freakishly talented, a great route runner, amazing athlete, and I think he still will have success even if they double him, triple him. I mean, you got Ha Clinton Dix out of the first round for the Packers. I still don't think he'll make a difference. Calvin Johnson's just a freak of nature. He's going to dominate. I wouldn't be surprised if he had over 250 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns against this Green Bay secondary. I still think they're very unproven. I still think they have questions in that secondary from Tramon Williams, and I just don't think they have enough to just try to stop this. I mean, you still got to stop Golden Tate, so, I mean, somebody's going to be open. I mean, it's just too many weapons, and I say they don't stop them. Eddie Lacy and Reggie Bush are the two star running backs in this game. You got Eddie Lacy rushed for 1,000 yards last year as a rookie. You have Reggie Bush who rushed for 1,000 yards last year. You got them colliding against each other. And I think whichever quarterback gets more help from their running game will have a better advantage of getting big plays down the field out of play action and also controlling the clock and wearing down each team's defenses and getting in a rhythm against the defense. And I'm probably going to go with Reggie Bush because the Lions defense is pretty stout with the one game. You know, you got Ndamukong Suh in there. And so, I mean, Eddie Lacy is a great running back. I say he gets his yards, but Reggie Bush, I say he still has his great speed. Even people still think he is older. He doesn't have the speed, but I think he has great speed. I think he will dominate against this Packers defense. And I think he'll have a big game, and that will lead the Lions to a win over the Packers in a 24-23 close victory, game-winning field goal in Ford Field. The Steelers travel to Carolina to face the Carolina Panthers. There are a lot of questions about the Greg Hardy incident that's around this game and sort of put that game behind the Greg Hardy incident. And so my first point is there will be no Greg Hardy. I mean, that's a huge factor in this game because he's a great pass rusher. He would have been asked to pass rush Big Ben, who's hard to take down as it is. And I think that really is going to hurt the Panthers. I mean, that's all I can say about it. It's not football related. It's more personal matter. So I'm gonna get off that subject. My second factor will be Cam Newton versus Big Ben. I mean, big quarterbacks, over about 6'6", 6'5" for each of them. They're big. Even Big Ben still knows how to move around that pocket and keep plays alive. You know, Cam, he got the speed. They both got huge arms. They both got star receivers in Benjamin and Emmanuel Sanders. Well, not Emmanuel Sanders, but Antonio Brown. And, I mean, they're both going to have success. But I think Cam Newton will have more success because his wide receiver, Kelvin Benjamin, is 6'5". He's going up against a 6'1" corner in Ike Taylor, but Ike Taylor's a little older, in his early mid-30s, and I think he'll struggle against trying to stop and slow down, even with safety help. That freakish athleticism and just jumping ability of Kelvin Benjamin. And that brings me to my second factor, which is Ike Taylor versus Kelvin Benjamin. Again, I think Kelvin Benjamin will dominate. He's taller than him, but he just the speed of Kelvin Benjamin, people don't understand. He has great speed for a big guy, and I think Ike Taylor will struggle trying to cover him. He's been doing it for years, just being the Steelers' #1 corner against the #1 receiver. You saw he struggled over the past 2 years covering against A.J. Green, who's really, really good. I mean, better than Benjamin, just faster. I mean, a freak of nature. And if he can barely cover him, he's going to struggle against a guy who's taller. I mean, not as fast, but then has great hands. And he's a great route runner. You got Cam Newton throwing. I mean, Cam Newton can throw the ball when he wants to. When he has the potential, he can be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I think the Steelers will drop on their face, and they will get blown out. I think they will lose 31-13 on the road to the Panthers. The Arizona Cardinals face the San Francisco 49ers. And there are a lot of questions in this game and about how it's going to be played. And my first point is Colin Kaepernick. Will you see Colin Kaepernick from week 1 against the Dallas Cowboys, where they dominate the Cowboys physically and mentally, or will we see the Colin Kaepernick that threw 3 interceptions? Yes, 3 interceptions that led to the Bears' comeback against the 49ers this past Sunday. I think we will see a mixture of both. Colin Kaepernick that's inconsistent and Colin Kaepernick that's good. I don't know why he's so inconsistent. He has the wide receivers with Michael Crabtree, with Vernon Davis, with Anquan Bolden. He has Frank Gore at the running back position. He has Carlos Hyde. He can run it himself. I mean, he has so much athleticism. I mean, he has a great offensive line. I don't know why he doesn't dominate games like he should. I think he will come up, and I think he will make big plays. The 49ers will win this game because of Colin Kaepernick and running. He will run for over 100 yards in this game. Larry Fitzgerald is a name that many people forget of because you got the A.J. Greens, Julio Jones, and Calvin Johnson. But before their time, he was the most dominant and complete wide receiver, in my opinion, in the NFL. And he still is a great wide receiver, plays in the slot now. You got Malcolm Floyd, a young receiver, playing on the outside. And I think he will dominate against his San Francisco secondary. He plays in the slot. He's 6'3". He's still athletic. He still has his breakaway speed, has great hands, and has the great athleticism still at an older age to dominate the game and take over. We don't know if Carson Palmer will play, and that will be a factor in how good or bad he does in this game. But I still think he will have a pretty successful game at home in front of the home base, a team he's been with for his whole career. I think he will dominate. Depending on probably if Carson Palmer plays, he's going to dominate. If he doesn't, he's still going to have 60, 75 yards and a touchdown. My final point is if Carson Palmer plays, the Cardinals have a better chance to win. If he doesn't, I just don't think they have enough offense without him, even with those 2 great wide receivers and Malcolm Floyd and Larry Fitzgerald, to win against the 49ers. So this game is sort of a toss-up. I say the 49ers win either way, but it's close, 27-24, and Colin Kaepernick has a great game. He gets his team back on track after a horrible loss against the Bears at home, and they beat their rival, the Cardinals. And the final game of week 3 will be a Monday night showdown between the Chicago Bears and the New York Jets. You have Jay Cutler, you have Brandon Marshall, Matt Forte, Martellus Bennett, Alshon Jeffrey going up against a very aggressive Jets defense. The Jets have one of the best front sevens, and they're going to be tested with with Matt Forte running the ball. Of course, you have those athletic, tall, big wide receivers, the big tight end, and Jay Cutler with his strong arm. On the Jets side of the ball, you have Geno Smith. You have that young offense trying to adapt to one of the top offenses. Of course, Geno Smith in his second year, he's playing much better, not turning the ball over as much, and that's my first point of emphasis. Will Geno Smith have success against this very old and just it's not the same old Chicago defense against this Bears defense, and I think he will. Chicago, they lost Charles Tillman out for the season, so they're down to another corner. I think they're going to struggle trying to stop the Jets' run game, also stopping the pass game. The Jets had pretty good success against the Packers last week, a better secondary than the Bears, so I think Geno Smith will have his moments. I think the Bears will force one or two key turnovers in this game that will help them get a win. My second point of emphasis is Jay Cutler going against the aggressive Jets defense. I think the receivers will be having a big day. Brandon Marshall will dominate this game. I don't think Alshon Jeffrey will. He's still coming off the ankle injury, and but I think Brandon Marshall will dominate. He did it against the 49ers, who have a much better defense than this Jets secondary. Secondary at least. The front seven, they will probably get to Jay Cutler, even though the Bears have a very improved offensive line. You have Muhammad Wilkerson up there going to be trying to get to Jay Cutler. I think he will have his chances, probably 1 to 2 sacks. They will contain Matt Forte in the run game, but in the passing game, he'll have his success. I don't think they have any linebackers that can match up with him in space. And I think that's why the Bears will get a pretty convincing win, 34-17 against the Jets on the road on Monday Night Football.